A river cloaked in mystery and mysteries flows through the heart of the Middle East, where ancient civilizations once thrived. The Euphrates, a timeless witness to empire's birth and fall, has become the setting for an extraordinary revelation that has left the globe stunned. A hidden force has emerged behind its serene surface, defying all expectations and questioning everything we thought we knew. What has just emerged from the depths of the Euphrates River will eternally alter our understanding of the world as we know it. So without any further ado, let's get started. The Tigris River and the Euphrates River are the two major rivers that constitute Mesopotamia. The Tigris River is located to the east of the Euphrates River. The beginnings of these two rivers can be found within about 80 kilometers of one another in eastern Turkey. From there, they flow southeast across northern Syria and Iraq before emptying into the Persian Gulf. They come together to form a massive river system, which is located inside an ecoregion of alluvial salt marshes in the Middle East. The rivers are fed by several smaller streams that join together to form shallow freshwater lakes, bogs, and marshes that are encircled by deserts on all sides. The hydrology of these enormous marshes is of the utmost importance to the ecosystem of the entire upper Persian Gulf. This region, known as the cradle of civilization because of its long history, is home to some of the world's first human settlements. There are several references to the Euphrates River in both the Judeo-Christian Bible and the Hadiths that were transmitted by the Prophet Muhammad. The Euphrates, which has a total length of 1,730 miles, is the longest river in Southwest Asia. It is created when two rivers, the Karasu River, which originates in the Armenian highlands of what is now eastern Turkey north of Erzurum, and the Murad River, which flows from a location to the southwest of Mount Ararat and north of Lake Van, come together to produce the lake. It makes its way down the Taurus Mountains in a manner that takes it between the principal ranges. Although less than 70% of its drainage basin is located within Turkey, the country's highlands are the source of around 94% of the country's water. The upper stages of the Euphrates River flow through several steep canyons and gorges as they make their way southward through Syria and into Iraq. Both the Kabur, a significant tributary that begins its journey in southeastern Turkey, and the Balik River, which originates in eastern Syria, flow into the Euphrates River. They are the only two rivers that feed into the Euphrates River system. The Euphrates stops receiving any new water flow further downstream at any point over its entire course. The Shatt al-Arab is formed when this river combined with the Tigris in southern Iraq, north of the city of Basra. The Shatt al-Arab eventually flows into the Persian Gulf. In times past, the river valley was intensively irrigated, and as a result, the river's banks were the site of numerous important cities. The remnants of some of these settlements can still be found today. The climate of the river region as a whole can be described as subtropical, hot and dry. Large permanent lakes, marshes, and forests can be found in the large floodplain formed by the confluence of the Euphrates, Tigris, and Karun rivers, which are located near the northernmost tip of the Persian Gulf. Reeds, rushes, and papyrus are all examples of water vegetation that provide habitat for a wide variety of species. The land in and around the river Tigris and Euphrates is known for its high fertility. Marshy land is home to water birds, some of which stop here while migrating and others of which spend the winter in these marshes, surviving off the lizards, snakes, frogs, and fish. Some water birds stop here while migrating and others of which spend the winter in these marshes. Other animals that can be found in these marshes include water buffalo, two endemic kinds of rodents, antelopes, and gazelles, as well as small animals like the jerboa and several other mammalian species. Euphrates in the Bible. According to Genesis 2:14, one of the four rivers that flow out of the Garden of Eden is a river called Perath, which is the Hebrew word for the Euphrates. This Hebrew word, which may have originated from the word stream or the verb to break forth, has been given the name Euphrates in English. The Hebrew name for this river is Hiddekel. It is the fourth river after the Pishon, the Gihon, and the Tigris to develop from the river that flows out of the garden. The other three rivers are the Pishon, the Gihon, and the Tigris. The river of the same name served as one of the demarcation lines for the land that God had promised to Abraham and the descendants of Abraham, who descended from him through Isaac and Jacob. It is frequently referred to as simply the river in the Hebrew Bible. On that day the Lord formed a covenant with Abram and said, "To your descendants I grant this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates." After creating the Tigris and Euphrates, God says, "The name of the third river is Tigris. It is the river that flows east of Ashur." And the Euphrates was the fourth river that God made. The Euphrates is the land's northern and eastern boundary, and God makes the following promise to Abram. "From the Wadi of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, I give this land to your descendants." God instructs the Israelites to travel to the promised land as follows: "Start and make your way to the hill country of the Amorites, and to all their neighbors in the Arabah, the hill country, the Shephelah, the Negeb, the sea coast, the land of the Canaanites, and Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates." The Israelites are given this promise regarding the promised land by God, who communicates it to Moses. "Every place where you set the soles of your feet shall be yours." According to Deuteronomy 11:24, your territory's limits are supposed to extend from the wilderness to Lebanon, and from the river Euphrates, to the western sea. "And the sixth angel poured out his vial onto the big river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the path of the kings of the east could be prepared. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the battle of Armageddon might be prepared." Emerging from the Tigris River is a metropolis that is 3,400 years old. Archaeologists from Germany and Kurdistan have found a city from the time of the Mitanni Empire that was situated on the Tigris River. The city dates back 3,400 years. At the beginning of this year, the settlement emerged from beneath the waters of the Mosul Reservoir as a result of the rapid decline in water levels caused by the terrible drought in Iraq. The sprawling metropolis with a palace and several other huge buildings was the ancient city of Zakiku, which is thought to have been an important center during the Mitanni Empire. Iraq is among the nations of the globe that are feeling the effects of climate change the most. Extreme drought has been affecting a significant portion of the country, particularly the southern section of the nation, for several months. Since the beginning of December, significant quantities of water have been taken out of the Mosul Reservoir, which is the most significant water storage facility in Iraq, to keep crops from drying up. This resulted in the rediscovery of a Bronze Age city that has been missing since it was flooded many years ago, and no earlier archaeological research has been conducted. It can be found in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, specifically in the city of Kemun. This unanticipated event put a sudden and intense amount of pressure on archaeologists to unearth and document at least some of this enormous and significant metropolis as rapidly as they possibly could before it was buried once more. The Kurdish archaeologist Dr. Hassan Ahmed Qasim, who is also the chairman of the Kurdistan Archaeology Organization, along with the German archaeologist June Prof. Dr. Ivana Puljic, University of Freiburg, and Professor Dr. Peter Falsner, University of Tübingen, made the impromptu decision to carry out joint rescue excavations at Kemun. This was done in conjunction with the Directorate of Antiquities and Heritage in Dohuk, which is located in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Those events took place in January and February of 2022. Within a matter of days, we were able to assemble a group of people to carry out the rescue excavations. The Fritz Thyssen Foundation, which the University of Freiburg worked with to secure funding for the project, did so on extremely short notice. Because it was unclear when the water level in the reservoir would begin to rise again, the archaeological team, made up of Germans and Kurds, was under a significant amount of time pressure. Walls had been left exposed in a massive structure located in the old city complex. Participants in the project may be seen in the background. The researchers were successful in mapping a significant portion of the city in a short period. In addition to a palace, which had previously been documented during a brief expedition in 2018, numerous additional significant buildings were unearthed. These included a colossal fortification with a wall and towers, a gigantic storage building with multiple stories, and an industrial complex. The vast urban complex dates back to the reign of the Mitanni Empire about 1550 to 1350 BC, which ruled over significant portions of northern Mesopotamia and Syria at the time. According to Ivana Puljic, The enormous magazine building is of particular importance because it must have been stored with enormous quantities of goods, probably brought from all over the region. According to the conclusions drawn by Hassan Qasim, the excavation results show that the site was an important center in the Mitanni Empire. The research team was astounded at how well the walls had been preserved, sometimes to a height of several meters, even though the walls were composed of sun-dried mud bricks and had been submerged for more than 40 years. In some instances, the walls reached a height of several meters. The fact that the city was leveled by an earthquake in 1350 BC, which resulted in the higher parts of the walls collapsing and burying the structures, is the reason why the city has been preserved in such good condition. Pottery containers from the Middle Assyrian period, which were used to store cuneiform tablets, can be seen standing in the corner of a room from that period. The finding of 5 pottery jars, each of which contain an archive of more than 100 cuneiform tablets, is a finding of exceptional importance. They were constructed during the Middle Assyrian period, not long after the city was devastated by an earthquake. Some clay tablets are still in their clay envelopes, which may have been letters. The experts have high hopes that this discovery will reveal crucial information regarding the decline of the city during the Mitanni period and the commencement of Assyrian rule in the region. According to Peter Falsner, it is close to a miracle that cuneiform tablets made of unfired clay survived for so many decades underwater, and he is right. The excavated buildings were covered with plastic sheeting that fit tightly and was then filled with gravel fill as part of an intensive conservation effort that was supported by the Gerda Henkel Foundation. This was done to prevent further damage to the important site that may have been caused by the rising water. During times of flooding, this is meant to protect the walls made of unbaked clay, as well as any further discoveries that may still be hidden within the ruins. The location is currently wholly covered by water once more. Additionally, some previously unknown archaeological sites have been uncovered as the Euphrates River has begun to recede. Ratib Ali al-Kubaisi, the head of the Antiquities Department in Anbar Province, sees the drought as a window of opportunity. He explains that the area of Anbar, close to the Euphrates River, was the birthplace of civilization. The region of Anbar was universally dismissed as an unremarkable desert by the general public. However, we learned that this region is among the most significant archaeological sites in all of Iraq. He boasts that this region of Iraq was the first to be settled. The sites are inundated. The Iraqi government under Saddam Hussein dammed the Euphrates in the mid-1980s, flooding an area stretching over 120 miles along the border with Syria. Officials report that since the summer, a massive reservoir that used to span as far as the eye could see has shrunk by an astounding 90%. Before the area was flooded, at least 75 archaeological sites, according to Ratib. They covered the entire span of human history, from before 3000 BC to the heydays of the Sumerian and Roman empires. Submergence also obliterated ancient Jewish villages in the area. But now that the water has receded, Ratib can finally visit certain sites that were previously inaccessible to him, such as a rock with a sequence of pre-Christian tombs carved into its face. Ratib claims they are still useful despite the extensive damage caused by the flood. That's for the video today. We will be right back with more such videos. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.